In a world where content is limitless, two dudes forge an unbreakable bond to become a part of something larger than themselves by creating a podcast unlike nothing the world has ever heard. Time is running out, and all hope will soon be lost. Their content could hold the key to fight against the darkness. No matter how many podcasts the people have listened to, they haven't heard us. Not Us United. Are we good?
Yes.
You want to start or you want me to?
Go for it. Oh, we did it. In a world. That intro was pretty good.
Hey, thanks.
I liked
Hopefully it doesn't get old.
No.
Because everyone's going to have to listen to it forever.
Never changing it.
That's a great intro, though, into our second episode of Not Us United. What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Kruzich, and with me, as always, Michael Zavala.
Hello. That's me.
You're so polite.
I just said hello.
Yeah, well, you're very polite. Tell everybody what we're drinking tonight.
I was just about to mention I'm having a nice sip of something you made.
I did.
I forgot the name of it already, but it's delicious.
Well, at the restaurant that we go to called Stella's, they make this cocktail called After Dark, which is basically an old-fashioned with a little lemon juice and Cabernet to top it off. And it's kind of this sangria, but more manly somehow.
I guess because it's old-fashioned.
Yeah.
When you took me to the restaurant, you're like, you got to try this drink. It has wine and bourbon in it. And I'm like, okay. And I had it, and it's delicious.
It's got fruit. It's got sugar.
It's got bourbon.
It's got bourbon.
It's got...
It's basically America in a glass.
Amen.
All of it.
It just needs bacon or something in there. Well, it's delicious, and it's after dark, much like us. We are recording this after dark.
It is after dark. You are correct. How's your week been?
It's been solid, dude, you know?
Yeah.
Been living the life. It's hot. It's humid.
It is very humid.
It's hot boy summer. And that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I
Like,
don't know.
everyone says that now. I've never heard of hot boy summer, and that's probably for a reason, because
You were just living it already.
me. Oh, got it. I just was so unaware of it because I am a hot boy summer. Got it. Is that what that means?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know where it started. I think it's just like an internet trend that's like, hey, we were stuck inside last summer, so let's just go out and just you know, hot guy summer.
Just hot guy summer.
Yeah.
Hawk
eye.
Oh, we're on to something for the Iowa City folk. There we go. Hawkeye summer.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I need to probably put a tweet out. That probably would actually get some good
Good traction. Hawkeye
some
summer.
Oh yeah. I'd get at least like 3 retweets, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Wait, do you actually have a Twitter, or are you saying like?
I do.
Facebook?
I've had multiple Twitters.
Wow.
Like I said, I used to have a Twitter handle of Big Daddy Sass because I was very sassy. The problem with that is Twitter sometimes doesn't do case-sensitive names, so a lot of people thought I was Big Daddy's ass. So anyway, I had to get rid of that fast. I did ask Kate if she would like to be Big Mama's ass, but she turned it down after people started saying, wait, Nick, is your Twitter name literally Big Daddy's ass?
I feel like there's a whole side of your life that I don't know.
Yeah. It's something I've probably kept secret, but now that we're doing podcasts, you know, hey, just get it all out there.
Not Us United.
That's right, Not Us United. So there you go. Originally Big Daddy Sass, but definitely changed. I think it was Instagram that does the no caps or something, and so some guy just like DM'd me. A friend of mine is like, "Why is your name Big Daddy's ass?"
You're like, no.
Exactly.
It's one of those things that's like, it's innocent until like you like get pointed out, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're right.
Well, and it's perfect for me because like no one saw me as like edgy or weird, and so they're just like, "Oh, this guy's just being silly, he's just a sassy dude." And then they're like, "Wait, what? Would Nick actually be edgy enough to be called Big Daddy?"
He's got voluptuous
Anyway,
behind.
have a bad track record with Twitter, so now I'm just back to the old last name, first name. Not there,
Classic.
so.
Classic.
Well, I did want to do a little backtracking from episode 1 because we got so in the heat of A Quiet Place 2. It was awesome, but I feel like we didn't give credit to the actors that we kept mentioning. We just kept saying boy or daughter or girl or whatever. And so just shout outs to Millicent Simmons, who played Reagan Abbott. I didn't even know her name was Reagan. I know the Abbott family. That does sound familiar.
That does sound familiar.
But because no one talks in this movie,
Fair.
It's a little bit hard to remember whose names are what. And then Noah Jupe, our boy from Honey Boy.
I haven't seen Honey Boy.
Oh, you didn't see Honey Boy?
I have not seen Honey Boy.
We'll have to talk about that. But he played young Shia LaBeouf, but also Marcus Abbott. So they killed it. So sorry that we called you daughter and son and boy, but shout outs. So we're bad at this sometimes, and we kind of can say some names because we're familiar with them and then forget others. So
they're new up and coming actors, so
oh yeah,
all the shout outs they need.
But Millicent, she killed it. MVP of the movie.
Yeah,
100%. So shout outs to her.
Just to also just reiterate for Quiet Place, I guess, we're talk again. You sent me this video of John Krasinski. Was it The Wire or
I think it's Variety behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, those are super cool series, and it's they get the director and they kind of break down a scene. And so Krasinski broke down the opening scene again, no spoilers, but it's the opening scene with the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where they go into what was again, so it's just renamed Morgan. They go into her mind of how she would hear things.
Oh, Reagan, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And the mom, the real life mom of that actress heard that, and she felt oh, this is actually how my daughter hears, and it was super impactful for her to step into her daughter's mind for a while.
Yeah.
And I was that was super cool.
That is
and
cool.
so it's hey, movies have an impact of more than just cinema, and you can see someone else's perspective.
Yeah, I think it's the same as if you have a sibling who makes you something, how that art is so much more special because you know who created it.
Right.
When you get to see the behind the scenes stuff, where John Krasinski's talking through this, you might not notice, but that whole opening scene's basically a one shot.
Right.
Which was cool, and I totally forgot about it because it just kind of transitions so smoothly. But when you kind of get the understanding, I think it just helps you appreciate it more because you're oh man, this guy thought of 80 different things for a scene that was 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So for us, it was just well, that happened really fast. But for him, he was no, look, I did this and I did this.
They spend days, if not months, on certain parts of the movie, and it's
right.
That's just so cool. It's a movie fan.
And the touch that you said, hearing it from the deaf's perspective was nuts. So
Yeah.
just I just thought that was kind of a cool touch. And then it's just oh, that scene actually is a lot more impactful when you think about the meaning behind all of the things and how there were mistakes that happened during it, but they actually ended up going into the final cut because they were actually perfect. And he can't even take credit for some of it. He's yeah, the camera slipped and it made this awesome shot.
It was the best shot of my career.
Yeah. So he's I'm really upset about it, but whatever. But yeah, anyway, excellent movie. We rated it, I think, a 7 out of 10. Definitely would recommend it to people, and so definitely check it out. But
totally off topic. I accidentally sliced my face.
Oh no!
Ow!
How did you do that?
I don't know. But right underneath my eye, I cut my eye a little bit.
Dang!
Ow! Anyways,
well,
we persevere.
Are we gonna make it? Just drink some more of our Jamba Juice.
Just our adult Jamba Juice.
Our adult Jamba Juice.
I wanted to have you quickly describe our logo.
Oh, yeah.
To throw that at you, because I felt like we didn't talk about it in the first one as our introduction, and I think it's a very cool idea for a logo that you designed.
Sure. I'm glad we're talking about it in the second one, though. Give people a chance to listen to us one more time. It's we don't want to give away all of our secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this idea of the camera, was obviously meant to symbolize we'll be talking about film. But we put that in as the body of the camera. And so on the surface, you're probably thinking, oh, Not Us United in perfect. Makes sense. Maybe some of you even weren't thinking that. You're probably just that's a weird shaped camera. but we put it on its edge. We actually angled it so that it could resemble an N or a Z. And so that does stand for Not Us United, but it also has this hidden meaning because my first initial, or my first name would be Nick, and your last name is Zavala.
Nick.
So there's it's also Nick. So so there's this cool little hidden meaning between this like letter that's kind of off kilter, just to show you that there might be more than meets the eye, because we're basically Transformers. So
No, it's cool because then like one view, like I'm on one side of the camera, you're on the other. Of like, oh, I see a Z, but you see an N.
Yeah.
And then you, like as we become united, we become one letter.
We become one letter of this camera thing. So, yeah, I'd like to say that like so much thought went into it, but it was actually just it worked out perfectly with like the logo already looking good, and then I was like, what if we just tilted this? And then I was like, boom, meaning, and so it worked out really well.
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
It was great. I liked it a lot.
It's a simple logo, but I think it gets the job done, and I think it just, for as deep as we get into movies, sometimes it kind of just shows our taste, and like this is just a logo, but if you want to look deeper, there is more meaning. So I think that's kind of our motto a bit with this podcast. So
I agree.
yeah, good shout out.
Yeah,
It's a good logo.
it is a good logo. I'd buy a shirt of it or something.
Well, not yet. Not Us United.
Not
Not
Us
yet.
United.
We'll get merch when it makes sense.
Yeah.
What's our goal?
You said 50, right?
50 episodes. On our 50th episode,
So
we'll get merch.
2 down.
2 down.
I mean, we'll start pre-ordering.
We'll get it there. we'll get your sizes and stuff. Perfect. All right. Well, should we tell everybody what we'll be discussing today?
Yes. Today, we will be in honor of our nation's independence and our national pastime of rooting and hollering for the patriotism of this great nation of America and shooting off fireworks and all good things. We decided to review one of the most patriotic movies, maybe?
Yeah. It's up there.
I forgot how patriotic it was when I was like, yes,
Yeah.
watching it.
And like the movies that came after it because of what this movie did, you know? Yeah.
We are watching Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Roland Emmerich's 1996 Independence Day.
That's right.
Realized, not to date myself, I was born in 1996.
Hey.
So this movie is old
Shout
as
outs.
me.
Shout outs. All right. Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, we wanted to change it up a little bit because we know, depending on people's comfort levels getting back into the theater, we knew talking only about new movies might not be the greatest way to have, like an audience that wants to hear stuff. And so we figured why not revisit old classics as well, which we put in the description. So we knew we weren't just limited to new movies, but when we were trying to think of like what's a good movie that probably most people have seen or should see, and it was weird how like easy this was for us to come up with. We were both just like probably Independence Day, and then I think I suggested
you brought it up, and I was like, yes.
And you're just like, yep, not even arguing, because you actually watch it. Your family's like actually annually watches this movie, correct?
Yeah, we watched it for Independence Day. One year, so I'm already biased for this movie because it is. I think I always ask my dad, "Oh, what's your favorite movie?" And he always comes back and says, "Independence Day."
That's his favorite movie.
It's his favorite movie. Wow. And he like quotes it all the time. So I have a bias that for this movie. But one day we went so far, or 1 year we went so far into it that you know how it's broken up in July 2nd, July 3rd, July 4th?
No,
we watched
just yeah.
So on July 2nd, we watched the July 2nd day.
Stop, dude.
And on July 3rd, we watched the July 3rd day. And on July 4th, we watched July 4th day.
Wow.
It broke it up like really because like at the end of
it's like 45-minute chunks or something.
Yeah, I think the third day is the shortest in the movie because it's kind of like
the last half an hour or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, the July 3rd is the shortest.
The middle day.
Maybe I can't quite remember. Maybe it's not. Maybe I think the 3rd is the shortest because it's just the end. They just all fight.
Well, that's the 4th. Yeah. It's
Third
the third
part. Yeah, I'm
day,
sorry.
the fourth day of July. Yes,
It's
you're
already
right. You're right.
falling
You're
apart. I'm
right.
almost done with this drink.
You're fine. You're fine. I get what you're saying. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about it spoiler free at first, in case someone hasn't seen it in the
25
years that it's been out. But
I feel like that was one of the reasons we also picked it, is
Mhm.
because I feel like most people have seen this movie.
true, yeah. And so this can be a pretty short, spoiler-free review,
Mhm.
but
But for those who haven't, I saw it on HBO Max. What did you watch it on? Do you own it?
I thought I owned it, probably lost it somewhere,
Mhm.
and watched it on HBO Max as
Nice.
well. So, but yeah, that's a pretty good streaming platform, just in regards to not only seeing new movies, because all of their theater slate
Mhm.
shows up on it every month, but also they've got some pretty good classics on there. So
Yeah, they really do.
and it's ad free if you do the $15, and then I think they did an ad.
Oh, do they have an ad bundle?
They have an ad one now, so it's like $10. But on non-HBO, it's only on non-HBO content. So if it's like something that already is an HBO show, still no ads.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, and they're not even sponsoring this podcast.
I
but
know.
they're gonna make so much money.
They're like, oh, everyone's gonna buy HBO
Not
Max.
because of us, but they're gonna make more money because of us. So
Yeah.
there you go. But yeah, I guess it is a very it is a patriotic film, but in almost like a global sense.
Yeah.
I suppose, you know.
Our Independence Day. You know?
Mm-hmm. It expands on it because not only is North America the best,
Mm.
we're gonna like save the world because we're the
Right.
best, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's we get to force our independence on everyone, but it's okay because of Independence Day.
Because we saved the world, because only America can save the world. you
That's
know?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're into that, just cheesy 90s, amazing. Actually, it almost feels kind of like even before 90s.
Yeah.
It's got the CGI and stuff of like a 90s film.
movie.
Because it was kind of cutting edge at that time. There's some pretty cool shots of like the alien ships and whatnot, but it still kind of feels like it's leaning into Spielberg type stuff. And
Yeah, there's a certain Spielberg mysticism to the
Mhm.
movie, which maybe finds it a little more attractive to me, I guess. But I guess when I think Spielberg, I think like more kids focused with like E.T.
that's fair.
and like I guess Jurassic Park has kids in it and stuff. But
Yeah. This would be on the level of Jurassic Park, though. I feel like a kid can watch
yeah,
if he can watch Jurassic
oh yeah,
Park.
I watched this when I was like 6 years
yeah,
old,
then you can watch Independence
Which-
Day.
which I'll get into was kind of scary
Sure.
with Independence Day.
Yeah, there's some scenes that are a little frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're stuck in my mind. I'm like, oh wow, I forgot about this.
Before we get like too into it, why is this the best movie ever made in your
Because-
opinion?
I know when you brought it up, I'm like, oh, Independence Day, it's fine. And I was like, oh, we'll watch it, we'll review it. And I'm like, wait, this movie is, and the key word of Independence Day is iconic in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go through. I'm like, oh, this is an iconic scene. Oh, this is an iconic scene. Like I was gonna. So like sometimes when I work from home, I like have I have 2 screens, flex. But
Nice.
I put like a movie on the other side, and I work on the other side. And I was like, oh, I'll put it on the background because I've already seen it. I can just kind of like review it a little bit for the podcast. But then like I kept like turning and focusing to the other screen and being like, oh, I gotta watch this scene because I
Yeah.
gotta watch this scene. And then the next scene's popping. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this scene because
Yeah.
because there's a great shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's great because I think I grew up with it, and
Yeah.
like I watch it every year, and it's fun. And Will Smith is just probably my favorite role of his.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah,
iconic.
for sure.
Is it Bill Pullman? Not Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Pullman.
Bill
Bill
Pullman
Paxton would be
is
like
Aliens.
Twister and Aliens. Yeah.
Also, everyone's great in this movie. You gotta love it. And I understand that there's some people that it's like it's campy, it's a disaster movie, but I feel like it's the best disaster movie because then you get like 2012 and like some newer stuff like Green Day.
I think this guy,
or Greenland.
uh,
Roland Emmerich is all disaster film. He
yeah.
did 2012, right? And
He-
Day After Tomorrow.
he did A Day After Tomorrow and Godzilla.
Oh, the 90 Godzilla with
Yeah,
Ferris
Matthew
Bueller.
Broderick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard bad thing.
Oh,
Basically-
so good.
Basically, so good and it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
What?
Day After Tomorrow. Yes, but I don't think he did 2012.
Okay.
But yeah, similar.
Yeah,
Same thing.
he basically does like this is his thing is like disaster movies, and this is his best one
Mhm.
without a doubt.
True.
And I think it captures it's not the best character piece. And it's really weird to be like, this is our second movie because like this isn't the deepest movie we're ever going to talk about, or the most character developed movie we're going to talk about, or the most emotional movie we're going to talk about, but it's the funnest movie maybe in a way.
It's as close to an anthem of a movie that I can think of, where it's just like you kind of just want to sit there and just like pump your fist in the air.
Yeah.
Like the entire movie. Like it kind of is just begging for cheers.
Oh yeah.
Like everything is set up for like oh, are they gonna make it? Oh, they made it.
Yeah,
You know, like oh, you know, it's
Yeah.
like it's always which I think some people kind of bash it for that, but that for me is just kind of like thrilling. It's just kind of like you're kind of rooting for everybody in it. So
I think when this might have been like the best, or like maybe the turning point for disaster movies. I don't know, before 80s and 70s of like when they were super popular, but they got pretty popular in the 90s mostly because after this movie, because then you got like Deep Impact, and Armageddon, and the other one with those are the ones that were like both with the meteor.
The meteor.
I'm thinking of something else. Oh, you got like the Red Volcano and stuff, and all those other like disaster movies and Day After Tomorrow. But this set it off, and maybe that's why it's so unique, because it's the start of it all. Knowing nothing that it might not be the start of it all, but to me it could be the start of it all, like bringing the fresh ideas. But anyways, what do you think?
I agree. I think in some ways, like, you'll probably, if you're listening to this and going, if I take everything that these guys say seriously and then hear us talk about another movie that probably has a lot of the same things that this movie does, you'll probably recognize that sometimes these things in this movie don't work in other movies. And this one almost has kind of like, it's just an endearing movie, I think, for our generation, I suppose, because it was kind of like the first action film that we probably saw growing up. It was pretty iconic. There's some crazy shots that, like, to this day are still like, that's dope. And so I think in that regard, it's just, it's a classic. And so it's hard for me to really critique it. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it, and I'm sure we can find many, many plot holes if we really, really tried. But I think overall it's just a fun movie, and for its runtime,
it's long. It's way longer than I thought it was.
But I think it's overall just a pretty enjoyable sit through, and so I would definitely recommend it to folks. And that's why we're doing it a little early, just to get you guys primed and ready for 4th of July. Go out, watch some fireworks, come home, sit down, watch a nice 2.5-hour movie about aliens invading and Earth fighting them back.
God bless America.
That's right. But yeah, so I think we would definitely like agree that everyone should definitely check this movie out.
And I understand if people hate this movie. I totally get it. I totally get it.
But their hate fuels my love.
Like,
so like just know that the more everyone else hates this movie, the more I will love it. So
what if I just turn and all of a sudden start hating on this movie?
It's weird. It's like a meme of a movie.
It is. It's totally yeah.
Like,
but like if you compare it to like a meme of a movie like a Sharknado, like that's intentionally trying to be a meme of a movie.
Yeah. This one
almost earnest in its attempt to be like an action movie, but also like it kind of knows it's dumb, because then Will Smith will say a one-liner that's just like, oh, that's so dumb, but it's so great.
Yes, exactly. And so I can see you chomping at the bit, and so I want to be into spoiler territory.
Yeah,
so now we can finally like talk about it. But anyway, for those who haven't seen Independence Day, check it out. You can probably find it anywhere for $1 somewhere. Or somebody will just give you a copy.
Someone on the corner is passing out copies.
I'm sure. So,
and that man is Nick.
Like, just talk to me. I'll take care of you. Like, you guys need to watch this. I'll give you my HBO login info. But anyway, let's actually like get into this movie spoiler wise. But okay,
can I start off, because I'm gonna start at literally the beginning.
Okay.
With the opening text.
Please.
And it literally just, the open text comes in and then it explodes. And I'm like, that was the greatest start I could imagine to this movie. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, because this is like all of a sudden, like, I don't know who it was, but Paramount Pictures or whatever, and it's just like, Independence Day. And I'm like, this is the greatest movie of all time. And if like any other movie did that, I'd be like, this is so dumb. But this one just like,
Yeah.
That whole beginning where it's like coming in and then like the end of the world song.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my jam.
At what was it, Sati or whatever?
The space. The
searching for extraterrestrial life or something. It's just like, this is amazing. This place is so cool. And he's just playing golf.
Listen to the end of the world. I'm like, that's a little on the nose, but okay.
Yep.
And then first iconic line is when like, they wake up the guy and he comes out and they hear the
Mm-hmm.
and the woman's like, it's coming from the moon, and you're like, yo,
it's coming from the moon. Yes, I do love that. Like, we have this like space station or like this satellite network area, and there's just this dude playing golf. Because deep down, if we truly had one of these, there'd probably be like it wouldn't be staffed, and some guy would just come in the morning and be like, hey, what did we find? You know? But there's
they missed it.
There's this guy, and there's this big red light that's just like, boop, boop, like, hey, aliens are here. This is the alien red light.
It's like
amazing.
so over dramatic, but it's like, yeah, it works.
Yeah, they spoon feed us.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best part of this movie. Like, there's no Easter eggs. There's nothing hidden. It's just like, hey, plot point, and let me tell you why this is a plot point, and let me tell you why that is a plot point.
Yeah, they
it's
just go straight for it. There's no like, there was no world building really. There was like, hey, here it is, and there's aliens, and it's not like they're like, oh, they may be nice aliens. What? It's like they're aliens and they're here to kill you.
Exactly. Also, just right off the bat, like the cast of this film is absurd.
Yes,
and it's hard to say. Like, I know you're a huge Will Smith fan, at least in this role, but it's just like, oh man, I have a hard time picking who I like Jeff Goldblum better in, this movie or Jurassic Park. I mean, I understand he gets to do that, like the sexy, like, the shirt like thing in Jurassic Park, but like in this one, he just has
he's so good.
He gets to still be Jeff Goldblum, but he's like the serious, like, and he has some great lines in this. You know, like, I don't want to say it because I'm gonna quiz you.
That's
I'm gonna quiz you on some one-liners because this movie is just jam-packed with some amazing one-liners, and I want to see if you can actually pick them out.
I think Jeff Goldblum and his dad. I can't remember the actor who plays his dad. You got it pulled up. But he's a famous guy.
Judd Hirsch.
Oh yeah, famous guy. He's fantastic in this movie.
Yep.
Probably my favorite character is the dad. He's just so good.
Yep. Like, some good foreshadowing with what they do too. They play chess, and that literally ties into the whole thing. Yeah. Like, somehow chess is like
that beginning of them playing chess. And that dynamic just works, and like they come here every day, or like whenever, and they play chess. Like, that they're close to each other, and then everything's like so ham-fisted. Like, you're still wearing that wedding ring. It's been 3 years.
There must be a lady on the other side. And then send it to lady immediately. Just like
literally cuts to lady, close-up face of her probably or something.
But that's what I love. Like, it was written with purpose. This chess scene is not wasted. No, there's only a few scenes that I can think of that were wasted that I just didn't truly understand why they had to be in this movie.
I agree.
There's very few.
Yeah.
And we can get into those later, but I just feel like I just love that from the start. We need to give you some information. Here's the moon. Check out how the moon's completely covered by a shadow. The ship is huge, like, okay, got it. Checkmate. Why is this important? It will be later. And Jeff Goldblum just like you could say he's conveniently, like, he kind of takes care of the plot a little easily.
Too easily, yeah.
But it doesn't come from nowhere. Like, they at least do a good job of like setting up why he has these skills. Yeah. What's going on. And so I really like Jeff Goldblum in this movie. It's hard. Oh man. Because in Jurassic Park he has that one line where he's like, life finds a way. And it's like, oh, it's so good. But he has like 80 of those lines in this movie.
I know,
So it's hard.
The one-liner punches for him in this movie are definitely like higher than Jurassic Park.
It's true.
I mean, I did a real gut reaction with Jurassic Park, but this, I don't know. It's one of this two. These is this,
And it's
or-
like same years ish.
yeah. Jurassic Park was 93 off the top of my head.
So
I think.
he owned this decade for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, Jeff Goldblum was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be like toe to toe with like Will Smith,
Yeah.
and they were both like these like sexy heroes. It
Yeah.
just made no sense.
Yeah.
Like if you would have told me,
That Jeff Goldblum would be like the sexy man hero in a movie. What?
yeah, it's just hilarious. I love it. But that's what he was. That's like some of his main roles were that.
Yeah.
What about Bill Pullman as our president?
Oh yes, I wanted to say he was probably like one of the. I mean, obviously he's the best. I won't say obviously, but one of the best movie presidents of all time. Period.
Wow,
Yeah.
hot take.
Hot take. I'm starting off early again. It was Shrek 2 last week, and
It
now
was
it's
Shrek
Bill
2.
Pullman as the best. Dude, but like, he's an actual character, because a lot of times the
It's true.
president's like, I'm the president, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's like just like, I'm gonna say this thing, and you better follow it because I'm the president.
Oh, 100%.
And like this one is
Yeah.
like he's just a dude, you know?
Yeah.
He's just a guy, and he's just
Mhm.
like they build his character so well, and then like his whole like he was a pilot, and that always comes back, and then like his whole relationship with his wife and his daughter, and it's like it works because he's so likable in this role.
Yeah, I agree.
It's and he's just like he doesn't know about all these things, like he didn't know about Area 51, and he like his cabin. Oh, it's just I just love it.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
No,
in
he's
this
super
movie.
good. Like
I can't wait to
I know he kind of gets a little typecasted because he does a lot of roles where he kind of just plays like a pretty like I'm the just average Joe like vanilla
Yeah.
flavored guy, like that's kind
Mhm.
of his thing, and he somehow like still brings that same energy, but it's like necessary for this movie. If he were just like a robotic president,
No, that wouldn't
this
work.
movie wouldn't work.
Oh no.
And I think for him to come in and be like, I'm a family man, I do all this stuff, I don't even know where Area 51 is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know some of the, I'm just like the guy who like everybody loved to golf with
Mhm.
and was a good dude, and I actually got elected.
Yeah.
Like, he almost felt like he's kind of like an ideal president. He's even getting like a lot of crap in this movie.
Yeah.
Because he kind of like starts to come out as like a pretty like average dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's not perfect, but
Mhm.
like he's more down to earth, and I think people are like, we need you to be a little more serious. And he's
Down
like,
to
I'm just
earth.
oh, bring it. But he's like, hey, I can't bend to everybody's will.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to like get through this.
Mhm.
And like everyone else is reading the papers, like, we're gonna go down so many points, and he's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm the president.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, good for you. You
Yeah.
know, like, not in like a I don't care what happens to this country.
Yeah.
It's that those people's opinion don't really matter.
Right. He cares about the
ultimately.
people. Like
I
you
care
see the
ultimately.
scene about like he talks to like his bodyguard. He's like, hey, how about that game last night?
Mhm.
And it's like I feel like it's juxtaposed because like right before we see the president, there's the scene with like the army generals, and like it was a weird moment like to pick out, but like, do you remember like when they're walking into the room, the general doesn't open the door, like he sits for a second and waits for the other guy below him to open the door,
Oh, I didn't catch that.
but then like so like he was like the holier than thou general, and he's like, but like then the president's just like this dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, how was that game last night? Oh, hey,
Yeah.
I don't care about the what."
That's
It's like
cool.
it's so it's like feel like a different to like set that up, and like sometimes the president is that person like you have to hold the door for me, and you have to be like because I'm the president.
Yeah.
But this one's like, hey, this guy would be like, let me hold the door for you, and like be
Mhm.
like because I'm the everyman.
Well, and you see that play off ultimately with him eventually flying with
Mhm.
all of the
Yeah.
pilots.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, hey, that's how I originally got this role.
Mhm.
Like, I was a military
I'm a
dude,
pilot.
and I'm a
I
pilot.
belong in the air.
I belong in the air. It's like, my dude. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
another fist pump in the air.
Yeah.
Like, get it, Bill Pullman.
yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, no, he... gosh.
Do we want to talk about the greatest speech?
Yeah, I mean, we have to.
We have to.
I mean, it's like, it would be a sin not to talk about it. It's just, when are we talking about
Okay,
it? So
cool.
if you want to
We'll
talk
wait.
about
We'll wait.
it...
We
Okay,
can wait.
wait.
We
Okay.
can go like
Gotcha.
I guess like beginning movie.
Yeah.
I feel like what do you think was the weakest storyline? I forgot there was so many kind of branching storylines.
I
There's
think
Will Smith and
His girlfriend didn't need to be a stripper. And they
Do you
didn't
think
need
so?
to care. Like, I don't think that needed to happen at all.
mm,
Not that, like, beliefs or whatever aside, it doesn't matter. I
Right.
just was like, what did that end? All it ended up was like leading to a line at the end of the movie where she was kind of like, it's honest money and it covers for my child.
Yeah.
Which, hey, cool, whatever. But it didn't feel like, I don't want this to sound bad, but like, I don't think Will Smith's character, what was his name? Stephen Hiller. Like, did he have to have a girlfriend in this movie?
Yeah, I guess she doesn't do much, but she interacts with the president's wife. And then she has like...
There's a cool like scene there.
Yeah. And that's like maybe the juxtaposition there of president's wife to stripper.
Sure.
And we're just like in this together.
That was a cool... Yeah, I get what you're saying. So maybe that was its ultimate purpose, was like somebody who maybe like would have more of a frowned upon vocation, like talking to literally the most like important woman of our country. Yeah, okay. In that regards, totally makes sense. I just felt like for me it was like, oh, and by the way, we have to make sure you know that this is her vocation. I think that just could have used a sentence and that was it. Like it didn't that story arc didn't lead to anything except for a conversation, and I don't know if like knowing that she was that would have really made it that much different.
That's a fair point.
But that's the only thing I can really think of. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in this movie though just to die in the first like act of the movie.
Yeah, like all their friends.
Yeah, and so you could argue that none of that needed to happen, but I guess it allowed for there to be
die.
Yeah, people who have had like dialogue too. So like her friend had to be at the top of that tower.
Yeah.
So if she wouldn't have had that scene where she was stripping, then could she have talked to that friend?
Yeah.
So yeah, therefore it allowed us to spread throughout the city. I guess in that regard, it seems necessary, but for me,
you could give her like an office job, but like, would it be memorable?
I see what
my
you're
mind
saying.
of like
that's fair.
I don't know if I would be like, if it was just an office job. I was like, hey, you're gonna go down and do this. I was like, I guess it's a little bit different. It's just different.
It just felt like she was a means to an end rather than needing to be a character in this movie.
That's fair, and that could totally be a thing. And
that's kind of what I felt like. It was like, you're in here to be the bridge to, one, you connect to the girl who's gonna be on the top of this tower before they blow it up, and two, you're gonna have a great line with this. Also, Will Smith's just going to take a helicopter and find you in 30 seconds. Yeah. Like, it was like, that place is rubble.
Yeah, like, that was like, and then like him even taking it was like, oh, you as the audience are like, oh, Will Smith is going to do a good thing here and take the helicopter. But the guy didn't know that. He could have been just deserting.
That felt more like the writers just kind of got into a spot where they're like, okay, so the president's wife has to die. The girlfriend, like, and so it just felt like some of those were maybe tacked on a little bit more,
definitely
rather than Will Smith didn't need to do any of that because he still got to do what he got. Like, if he did everything but the helicopter save scene, he's still fine.
Yeah, that takes like 5 minutes out of the movie for him to like go out there, pick her up, come back. Would like she could have been a helicopter pilot maybe or something, and she like, but then where would she know to go? I guess I don't know.
It was fine. It was very 90s. It was very just like, hey, we got money. So, like, let's just do whatever we can with whoever we can.
I think her kind of purpose is to be the person on the ground while the destruction is happening and survive.
That's true, too. Yeah, there's the scene where the dog has that epic...
Oh, I wrote this down on my little sticky note. The dog action shot. Oh, iconic.
Iconic. We could right now make a better scene on PowerPoint, but it's so good. No way,
it's so good. The dog jumps to the air, the fire's behind him. I'm like, oh, the dog is safe.
That's
I know
another fist pump. Let's go.
I know the fire's gonna literally go into that little cubby and kill everybody, but it doesn't because of this movie, because patriotism.
Yes,
and
exactly.
I know this is gonna make me hypocritical for literally any other movie, but
I know. That's the hard part. When you like Independence Day, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot here by making this our episode 2, because everyone's like, well, shit, if you like that movie, then what movie don't you like?
Yeah, like, why don't we like Transformers or whatever?
Yeah. Which, hey, Michael Bay has a lot to thank Independence Day for. If we're going to get on that topic, but this was literally... Didn't have quite as many American flags as Michael Bay movies does, but it definitely had as many explosions.
And it was explosions, the score,
Independence Day walked so that Michael Bay could run
And
and fly and explode. Exactly. No, but even when I critique it, I still feel just like, that would have cut 10 minutes out of this movie.
Yeah.
It's not really that big of a deal.
No.
Like, I don't really have any qualms with any side quests that they go on.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. You're right. She's a ground level person, like, so that it allows us to see the destruction because somebody has to survive, and you're right. So,
thank you.
yeah, I literally redact my original comment.
No, that was a fair point.
And it wasn't that I was like, she shouldn't be a stripper. It was just like, wait, why all of a sudden is there just all this stuff? And I was like, she could have not been in this movie, and I could have seen it work. But after hearing what you're saying, I'm glad that they at least went with that route, because then it allowed for, one, a really cool conversation where she talks to the first lady, but also, we wouldn't have been connected with New York downtown.
Right.
Because Will Smith was out, and so no one would have been downtown New York except for the weird
I think it was L.A.
guy that... Oh, was it L.A.?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Because New York was just the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Because then we're just left with the guy that Jeff Goldblum talked to a bunch.
Yeah, and he's dead.
And he just dies. He's like, oh, crap, that
yeah.
guy.
But, like, we needed someone to live, I guess.
Yeah.
Be like, hey,
So
there's
that
still,
made
like,
sense.
hope, I guess.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Thinking on my feet.
Mm-hmm. It's good feedback.
I think, what do you think of the plan to send a little flashing helicopter to the aliens as a sign of, hey, peace?
Yeah, interesting.
To be like, flash, 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 flash.
Yeah.
We mean you no harm. Here's a bunch of lights.
Well, I know we haven't talked about Arrival yet, but, I mean, the first thing they do is they don't shoot missiles at that thing when it arrives. However,
different aliens.
Different aliens. Yeah. This was before they nuke everything, right?
Yeah, this is before they shot. This was like, this is the first sign of trouble. This is like 30 minutes before, and then like the David is like, we gotta get it out of here, and the president's like, we have to get everyone out of there.
Yeah.
Get out, and then boom.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, interesting. It doesn't feel like it's the
greatest idea.
Not the greatest idea. It doesn't feel that American. I feel like we probably see this thing was 15 miles wide, the ship, which they don't do justice of. Like, they show a cool scene where it's like coming into space.
Yeah.
And the gun, even blowing up that building, would have only been like half a mile wide. Doesn't truly show you how big these things are.
Yeah, there's not a huge sense of scale.
These things are huge.
Yeah.
I think we're nuking from the start.
Immediately?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think America's holding the trigger. I don't think they're like holding off on the trigger.
No, I don't think so.
I think, I mean, maybe they send a guy. I don't see.
I think we send the welcome wagon.
That was a very gracious, like extension of like, hey, just checking. Like,
yeah,
interesting that you brought the like mothership instead of like
and
the
multiple
scout.
of them.
Yeah. So like I was like, I feel like it's time to go.
Yeah, I think when like that blue light starts opening up, you're like, oh, we gotta shoot that down.
Yeah.
There's no mobilization of the army. Like there would be people underneath it. There'd be a nuke pointing directly where that blue thing would 100%. Be, and then as soon as it opened, I was like, nah, shoot it.
Yep. Game over.
Yeah. And 100%. I feel like, I know like the president made the call to not evacuate. That wasn't the call.
Yeah. But it at least paid off in the end. I mean, they still got a chance to evacuate, but yeah.
Yeah. But everyone was already leaving.
Oh, you mean the city?
The city, yeah. Everyone was already leaving anyways. Or like the people that were like, bring back Elvis. But
yeah, exactly. That's classic. The other thing, again, where they kind of just allowed Jeff Goldblum to kind of be like, I typed into my database and we got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that was a little
there was some stuff where it was like, oh, it was a little fast, but he does a good job of still like, here's what I thought. I just like bounced some stuff off.
Yeah, he was in his own little world, focusing on like, oh, the decaying time, their signal, which sure he can find that out because he works in TV or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, Mm-hmm.
The main issue I have with him is like later on, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
But like, and then he just drives to DC.
Yeah, so he's in New York, right? And
Yeah.
then gets to DC.
It's like a 4-hour drive, I think. I mapped it out one time
That's
when
not
watching this
awful.
movie. But how do you get out of the city, you know?
Well, the way they made it seem was getting out of New York wasn't an issue, but getting into Washington, D.C. was super easy because everyone's trying to get out.
Right, but why wasn't everyone trying to get out of New York City?
Well, that was... Oh, no, wait. L.A. was the one where they were kind of the sympathizers.
Yeah.
They were kind of like, hey, we welcome you.
I don't know. I just feel like it was maybe it would be a little bit more difficult. But that's okay.
I think stuff develops while they're on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when they leave New York, it's not crazy quite yet.
Yeah.
And then it gets crazy within that 4-hour time period that you're talking about.
Okay.
So, but
fair enough.
He like is the audience and he like talks us through everything.
Oh yeah, he's way the plot device. I've been like, hey, this is why this is important. Here's this big counting number that's going down. Is that a bad thing?
I love the like
the big computer counting number. Dude, it's so 90s.
Just big old clock just ticking down. I love it. Yeah. So he's golden, and you have to forgive any flaws because he's gold blue. Yeah. So he's the man. Yeah. What about Randy Quaid's alcoholic crop duster character?
Oh yeah.
The hero.
The hero of the movie, man. I when I watched this as a kid, and I rewatch it now, I'm like, wow, this guy was drunk the entire time.
Oh, 100%. Like not
the acting, but like
yeah.
the character of him is like he was drunk the entire his character was drunk. I'm like, huh. And it was funny to be like, yeah, he like, do you think he actually got abducted by these specific aliens? No.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like he ended up being like, oh, he's kind of right, because even in the end when he's like, I want to take back to these aliens, the other two guys are like still like weirded out by his saying. It's like, but there's aliens here. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't think they scouted us at all, these aliens.
You don't think so?
Maybe they did.
I think it makes his death way cooler.
It's way cooler. Yeah. It's way cooler. Yeah.
But yeah,
hey,
if it was like a different alien.
Back. Oh yeah, it's some other.
My generation's like one term, up yours. It's like, let's go, dude. Come on. He's also Cousin Eddie in the Christmas Vacation. If you've ever seen it, so he's iconic. The dude's
he's
legit.
great. And like his opening scene with like his family, I think most of his family besides Miguel don't have a lot to do.
Right. One goes on to be in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
so
okay. Nice.
She got some cred. From,
good for her.
Good old Independence
Day. Yeah, but
or
like character-wise, she's like I'm the girl, and the other son's like I got sick that one time, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And then Miguel's kind of around.
That's the hard part. You have so many characters and so many arcs. They had to choose, and there's like 6 people who get the spotlight.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's a lot to juggle already. So I think it's for what they have. I think it's fair. But that opening scene where he dusts the wrong field is like great. Like it's so great because then it's like he's like just like he's just burnout. Yeah, he's just burnout.
Yeah.
And like now he can then have this he's like the only one that has a huge redemptive arc.
Right.
Because like obviously he sacrifices himself. So it's like that's going to be
Oh dude, it's so good.
It's so good. Up yours. It's so good.
I'm back. Yeah, you're right. It's so good. And I think that's why we like this movie so much, is just everyone's a little flawed, but they all get to be like their best selves in this movie. The president gets to be his best version of himself.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum gets to be the best version of himself. Will Smith gets to be the best. He wanted to always be in NASA. Like there's like a letter from NASA that says, sorry, you can't be an astronaut. He's like, damn, I just want to be an astronaut.
And then
they're like, how about a spaceship? Let's go.
That quiet moment where he's like sitting out in the stars and he's like, I never thought I would see this view. It's like, whoa, iconic. Okay, iconic. And then speak of iconic, when his friend like drops the ring, and he turns and like gets proposing to him, and he like comes, he's like, whoa, okay, never mind.
Famous singer Harry Connick Jr. was his co-pilot guy.
Oh, really?
Or whatever, yeah.
See, that's the other thing. Like, he was a great character to just have die. Like, his whole squadron just...
Nice. Yeah, he was just super good at, like, dying mostly. I loved how he died, specifically. But yes, like, important enough.
Yeah.
But, like, not, like, plot crucial that...
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, then it gives him, like, he's the only survivor of, like, the Black Knights will rise again.
Yeah. He also has one of my favorite lines, and I still say this to this day. Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
Tires and light the fires, Big Daddy sass.
I love that line, dude.
Kick the tires and light the fires.
All right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I wanted to share some one-liners from this movie, and I want you to guess which ones are not in this movie.
I've been training my whole life for this game.
Are you sure?
I really hope so.
Okay.
Is it gonna be like, what a nice day out today?
Yeah, no kidding.
How many of these you got?
Like 12.
Oh, okay, let's do this. I'm so here for it.
Okay, so we have Welcome to Earth.
Oh, okay, that's obviously in this movie. Literally the most iconic line. Welcome to Earth. Boom.
Now that's what I call a close encounter.
Yeah, he did the same scene. I could have been in a barbecue.
Let's see. Here, hold on, we will not go quietly into the night.
Dude.
It's so good.
That's part of the best. Okay, hot take again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
get there. We'll get there.
It's the go. I could have been at a barbecue.
I could have been at a barbecue.
He's so good. He's got this shit memorized. Damn it.
You know, I saw this movie every year for my entire life.
I know.
Man.
I don't know what to do.
You got
Okay. He wasn't the president yet.
That's not in this movie.
Okay.
Oh no! Wait, no. He punches him. He's like, yeah. He's like, oh no, he wasn't the president yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
That's
Okay,
correct.
that's half. I'll get half point.
Let's nuke the bastards.
Let's nuke the bastards. Yeah. They're all in this. Is the joke that they're all in this movie because they're all in this movie? Let's nuke the bastards.
All right. Let's see what else we got. You really think you can fly that thing? You really think you can do all that bullshit you just said?
Yes. That's like their first interaction. I forgot how much they didn't interact in this movie.
Yeah. It's true.
You're about to think you can do all that bullshit you just said?
Yeah. The last 45 minutes, woof. All right, you alien assholes. In the words of my generation, up yours.
Oh, man.
President says, good luck, buddy. Haha. Hello, boys. I'm back. Okay, I had to give you that one. All right. I ain't heard no fat lady. Forget the fat lady. You're obsessed with the fat lady. Drive us out of here.
Forget the fat lady. You're obsessed with the fat lady.
I picked a hell of a day to quit drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in the movie.
Let's see. Oh man, there's so many.
You should have gave me the ones where, or like, which character said it, because.
Oh, that's fair.
I mean, I probably could have gotten it, but like, yeah.
Let's kick the fires.
Let's
kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy. It's so good. Yeah, the trick was they're all in this movie.
Because they're all iconic. Every single line you just said, iconic.
And there's still like 10 more that I probably didn't say, but...
did I put it on here? Oh, it's coming from the moon. I like that one.
Yep.
You punched the president? Well, he wasn't the president.
Not yet.
I put that one on there.
Mm-hmm.
Up yours.
Yeah. Up yours.
Oh, it was so good. It's iconic.
It's so good.
That was a great game. I like that game.
There you go. I'll try to do it with some other movies if it makes sense. But man,
I don't know if any other movie
full of one-liners.
Yeah, this whole entire movie is basically. I feel like half of Will Smith's dialogue is a one-liner.
Yeah, and it's weirdly, like, probably what kept it from being the greatest movie ever made was that he didn't rap a song at the end of this movie.
Yeah, Independence Day. Yeah.
Big Willie style.
Really stop. We said the Earth. Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth. Yeah, that's the single. I love it. So good. Or get like a tie-in with Men in Black or something. That'd be funny. Iconic. All right, so do we need to talk about this president's speech?
I think we got to.
Do we need to read it word for word?
You have it pulled up
I
on your
have
phone?
it pulled up. All right, so when the president finally, it's the 4th of July morning, they think they finally figured out what the weakness is. They're going to upload the cold, the flu,
the virus,
to the, because line of sight. Because this movie has to explain everything perfectly. He gets out on the intercom and just has this like nonchalant, just like, hey guys, I got something to say.
Best movie
and then ends
president.
up having like the most epic speech. Like, if you listened to this speech before you went to work every day, you would still have a better day. Yeah, like it has nothing to do with anything, and yet it would still be perfect. It says, good morning. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have had a new meaning for us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. Like, literally, the world is uniting. This is amazing.
We are united?
Not as united, baby.
I don't care how many planets they've taken over and how many universes. They've not fought us. Not us united.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July. Because, yeah, that affects the rest of the world. I just love us forcing Americanism on everyone in this movie. And you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation.
Let's go.
We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
The freaking extra that just salutes.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. How do you not get hype after that?
Dude, I want to just do something, man. I want to just inject straight Americans into my
We need
vein.
to lift weights or like fly a ship into an alien like for some reason.
I'm ready to die right now.
No
Give
kidding.
me an alien.
If that hadn't happened though, like everything just works perfectly as a domino in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, had that not happened, would we not have had Randy Quaid's character sacrifice? You know, like, I don't know. I just thought it was really cool, and it just lit
the fire.
Lit the fires.
Light the tires.
Light the tires. Exactly. So, no, what a movie.
I think we can sum it up in one word.
Yeah.
Iconic.
You're right. You started off correctly. It is amazing.
Top movie speeches.
Top movies. Yeah, it's iconic. You're right. There's no other way to describe it. There's just some good scenes. And at the time, it won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects. So, at the time, that would have been, cutting edge stuff. So
Yeah.
it looked really good.
It doesn't hold up great.
No.
Some of the alien stuff.
Yeah, it's 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think some of the mini sets, like the blowing up of the White House,
yeah.
that looks great.
All the practical effects
stuff of that looks great.
where they actually blew up a wooden building or whatever it was.
And again, that White House blow up scene, iconic.
Mhm.
Let me say that one more time.
100%.
The scene where after the initial plane fight, and the aliens are coming through that window, and the general the cigarette falls out of his mouth, and you open the window, and all these aliens are coming down and shooting up the airfield.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic.
What have we left untouched about this movie?
Oh man. I do have one qualm with the movie.
Okay.
Actually, we still have a few things to talk about, but I have one qualm, and it's the virus. It's kind of random how
Mm-hmm.
Goldblum you're gonna catch a cold, and he's like, I'm gonna catch a cold. I'm gonna. Oh,
oh,
wait.
cold.
wait,
Life
Wait,
finds a way.
life finds a way. Viruses find a way to infect an alien ship.
Yeah,
That's a little okay. Sure.
sure. But they kind of give him two other ways before this to do something nuts. So it's not a reach for him to be like, you know what? I've developed a virus to infect. You know what I mean?
I understand. Like, oh, it's probably kind of easy-ish to code to be like, hey, shut down system. I don't know, but like the whole idea of
the
like
alien tech. Yeah. How could he hack into that?
yeah, when he was just blasted out of his mind to be
Mhm.
like virus.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I don't know.
But he also like literally figured out the countdown to
Yeah.
when they were going to explode everything. So like I feel like they tried their best to make him like reach
Just-
for the stars
yeah.
and be able to like do it twice
Mm.
so that he could finally be like, hey, I can do this
To
now
do all
too.
the bullshit he just said.
Yes. Can you do all the bullshit you just said? I love that. I love that line.
I love the risk of shooting the Coke can and the
Oh.
bullet just ricocheting, and it could have just shot like Jeff Goldblum.
It's true. Yeah, could have. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
Just,
that
like,
scene.
Ricocheted back,
Yeah, that's true. That scene totally could have ended badly.
or killed the president or something.
That makes me really enjoy though the that reminds me of that scene where the alien starts talking through the scientist
Yes.
and gets into the president's head, and
Yes.
he's like, I saw everything they said.
Nuke the
And that guy just
bastards.
goes, is this glass
No,
bulletproof?
that's
And he
one of
goes,
the lines.
no, it's not. They just unload thousands of rounds into this alien. It's just, oh man, how can
Oh,
you
that's
say
a great. Is this glass?
it's iconic and American?
Yeah.
I think is like the other way. Like
It's
if
just-
somehow American could describe how this
a
movie
movie.
is.
Yeah, it's patriotic. It's just like the score. It's just like it gets you so pumped up for the 4th. It's the
Yeah.
most like Independence Day movie.
Mhm.
Like more
Yeah.
than like I don't know, The Patriot or whatever. But like this is
Yeah.
just like
all the rest revolve around like an actual war that took place.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, that's awesome that happened in our past. This is like our take on
the future.
what would happen if.
And
this.
apparently all the other countries are helpless because otherwise they're not figuring this out.
Yeah,
It's like,
like we're the
they're
only one
just
who
sitting
can give
around
you
a radio.
answers. Yeah, we're the only one who can go up yours. You know, like it's
Up
the
yours.
like just who saved the world? Oh, just some crop duster dude.
Yeah,
He's an alcoholic.
but that's like the American story,
Yeah,
man.
it's just he stopped drinking one day and saved the world.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, your every man can do amazing things.
That's true. He was like us.
yeah.
He was the us of the movie, so it
Yeah.
allowed us to be the saviors of
Right.
the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It
They
wasn't like
use that as a vehicle.
yeah.
I see that.
But so two things that scared me of this movie when I was a kid.
'Kay.
One being, do you know like initially when they send up the not the welcome wagon plane, but the other plane, the longer plane, and it blows up, and there's like this scene with like a tunnel and the flame coming through.
I don't know.
I don't know, but there's one moment where like as like the plane's exploding, you can like see like a skeleton of like one dude.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like
I have
sick.
to go back and watch
Yeah,
that.
It's like very early on, but like they're trying to communicate, but it's before the welcome wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this explosion that goes down this tunnel, and it's like this dude.
Oh,
just
when
gets
it's just the
burned up.
3 ships.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one plane.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll have to show it to you. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about.
No,
But
it's
that
okay.
I was like, oh, someone's bones. Someone's body just blew up. I'm like 6.
Yeah.
And then the alien.
The
yeah.
like the exoskeleton like surgery.
Yeah.
scene.
Oh yeah. No, that freaks me out. My mom to this day cannot watch that scene.
It is a little squiggly and gross. Like
Mhm.
tentacles just going like this the whole time. Like for
And then
those.
it's
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And the fact that like like Will Smith sees that for the first time, he opens up the
Oh,
crashed
yeah.
thing, and there's
Boom,
just
it
things
just
like going
punches
like this,
it.
and it just comes out, and it's like, poof, it just
Welcome to
knocks
Earth.
it out, and it's an exoskeleton. It doesn't even make sense that it knocked it out, you know?
Because he's just that good. He's filled
Well,
with
yeah,
American patriotism.
I understand he's an American. Yeah, I get it.
You
yeah.
understand. He's American.
Okay, got it. But I just love that, like, never seen an alien, has no idea what threat this thing could
Yeah.
get, and just literally just knocks it on its ass.
Welcome to Earth.
Just boom. And our friend was saying that there might be an outtake, but like
Yeah.
when he
Shoutouts.
says like it smells like fish during the movie, they think it could have been just like a blooper because
Yeah.
they were actually hauling
improv.
fish in that parachute or whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I feel like they gave a lot of room for him to work, just to be
Mhm.
like, just do whatever you want, pretty much. I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know how many one-liners he came up with.
I'm
but,
guessing they just said like, hey, walk, and start saying like
Yeah.
random things from the script, you know, and we'll just record you.
dragging your dead ass through the desert.
Yeah, he like starts popping off on this
Yeah.
guy, just like, look at your ship.
Look
I'll
at
do
your
it to all
ship."
the other ships. It's just like, no, you won't. Like, I mean, he eventually does, but you're just like, dude, you're so outgunned, but
Just
you
give
luckily.
me one more ship. I blow all of your friends up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but like him like getting that one alien, I'm like, yeah. I
Mhm.
know we just lost like 1 million people, but we got one.
I mean, yeah,
we got one down.
my man. It's so good, yeah.
That's
That's the other thing though that they did. They set it up so well that even like one of those ships felt so formidable because of the shields that even when he did achieve that, it still felt like an achievement. You
Yeah.
know, like they brought it down. You know. Same with when they finally blew up like the first big ship. You're like, oh man, this is nuts.
this is something. Yeah.
We're actually doing something.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't just like there was at least like planning to it. It wasn't just like, hey, shoot a nuke at it, and it worked.
yeah, that's true. Gosh.
What do you think of what was it, the Secretary of Defense or something like that?
Oh, just how he's kind of like a weasel.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
Yeah, just like you don't know about the Area
You don't know,
51. It's like, how did you pay for this? And the guy,
You don't think about his dad. You don't think about $20,000 on a toilet, $50,000 on a hammer.
Yeah, it's like that's how it paid for it. But yeah, that makes sense that they would keep something. But it's like, whoa, probably should have brought that up. You know,
Plausible
when there was a thing
deniability.
over. Yeah,
I know, yeah.
that's true. Plausible deniability.
But like, yeah, he should have been like, hey, we've seen these aliens before.
Yeah.
Or I guess he didn't know.
Which makes the Randy Quaid thing make sense
because they did
because
scout
he
him
did
out.
scout.
You're right.
You
You're
know,
right.
like
I was
they
wrong.
literally have a ship.
Yeah, you're right.
From a couple, like at least a decade ago.
Yeah.
So they did send somebody.
Roswell.
So there you go.
Area 51.
Yeah, Area 51. We'll have to visit sometime. See if it's all real.
Oh, this is so dumb. Do you know when the raid, Area 51 raid happened like a few years
where
ago?
everyone runs as Naruto or whatever.
Naruto runs.
Naruto. Yeah.
I lived at the time 3 hours away from Area 51.
Interesting.
I almost went.
That would
It was on a weekday.
would
I
have
had
been
to
a cooler
work.
story if you're like, I literally
And I was
ran
there.
the 3 hours. As that would have been nuts.
I almost went.
It didn't end up like everyone kind of chickened out, right?
No, they didn't storm. It was just like, hey, let's all hang out and like.
Oh,
Area
got
51
it. Okay.
And like, have like a beer.
Oh, gotcha. They weren't really gonna like storm.
No.
I
I think one person got by actually. Like
Nice.
one person like accidentally stuck on, but then he got like arrested or something.
Classic.
That was me.
That was your that would literally change this entire podcast.
Like,
Do you
it's just-
understand?
you're like, you need to talk about that for 5 hours.
we're not
now.
talking about movies anymore. If you literally got into Area 51, game over.
You're like, this is real. Yeah, I saw this. I saw this stuff, man.
That's awesome. But yeah, excellent film. I don't think we
No stone left unturned.
left any stone unturned. What do we got? What do we?
Do you like that they like Goldblum and Will Smith survived, like going up there, like they're like, hey, we're sacrificing.
100%.
Okay.
And I love how they both came down smoking cigars. So
Yeah.
they even dropped
victory
like,
dance.
Yeah, the victory dance.
Yeah.
Like,
Because even stuff
He
like
doesn't
that
even
got
smoke.
set up.
yeah,
Was like
I don't
you
smoke
got your victory
cigars.
dance. I got it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
And then he just like happens to be remarried to that girl again. It's just like,
Yeah.
let's go.
everything ties up a
America
nice little
brings
bow.
everyone together. That was kind of the cool thing too. Like ultimately, this ends up being kind of like a let's cherish what we
have.
love and have.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in the end of the day,
If the
it
world
allowed
ended tomorrow,
Will
yeah.
Smith to get married and Jeff Goldblum to get rekindled with his wife.
Mhm.
You know, all it took was an alien invasion.
Mm-hmm. But they're like, hey, well, like, what if tomorrow was like your last day? Like, you're
Mhm.
like, what would you have any regrets or something?
Well, and Jeff Goldblum has like an excellent line where she's like, I forget what she says. She's like, you could have had something special. And he goes, I did have something
Did,
special.
yeah.
Like, because she was talking about his
His career.
intelligent. And he's like, no, I had you.
mm-hmm.
And you're just like, dude, Jeff, come on, son.
Jeff, my guy.
Dude.
Jeff.
He kills it.
Yeah, he kills it.
I love it.
Now, Nicholas,
What?
there was a sequel to this movie.
Don't. You didn't want to do this.
I just think it has to be said. I hate that movie.
Yeah, and I know why you hate that movie. But again, your hate makes me...
You genuinely think it's decent?
I've only seen it once in theaters, and it just made me high-five my friends when I watched it. Because it did everything just as cheesy.
No, it didn't. No.
It just didn't have Will Smith in it, which is unforgivable.
The movie's awful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. It's bad. I understand. I'm just saying...
You felt the camp of it, I guess. You're like still like you enjoyed it.
No, like it's not better than the original.
Okay.
No, and
no sequels are except for Shrek 2.
No, it shouldn't have been made because they even set up a sequel to that movie.
Do you want to say the line for it?
I almost did to try to trick you, but I knew you would have figured it out. But yes, they basically get enough alien technology at the end of Independence Day 2 to take the fight to the aliens. So they're going to now invade the aliens because, that's what we do.
Trilogy.
And so he says, we have so much technology, we're going to kick so much alien ass. And then the movie ends, and I'm just like, well, that was pretty good. No, it was a cash grab 20 years later, and they didn't get everybody. It wasn't well thought out.
No. Okay.
So I'm with you. I haven't gone back to revisit it. I don't think it's worth it.
No.
It's too bad that they got enough of the original cast to kind of make it seem like canon.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to do it, I don't think you can do it without like a real... I don't know. I would have done something different, so... But, the sequel's not worth it, probably.
Definitely.
I'm with you.
I mean, I don't want to diminish your enjoyment of it, but...
There's just things that... Like, Independence Day doesn't try to be something it's not. And it leans into some of its, like, overly comical plot points.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the second one tried to just double down on that. But it just didn't capture the lightning in the bottle the same way.
No, like...
It kind of leaned too much into the cheesiness.
Yeah. Independence Day somehow straddled the line between being cheesy and earnest, but also being, like, good but bad, but...
It's comfort food.
It's comfort food. Yeah, it's like just eating some mashed potatoes and fried chicken and just like, oh my gosh. Like, give me that all day.
Give me that all day. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Took the words right out of your mouth, I'm sure.
Whereas the other movie was like...
I reheated that fried chicken after 20 years.
Yeah. It's like leftovers. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you can't do what Independence... And that's why I think everyone's mad about it and say it's bad. Because up to today's standards, you're like, well, if you want a disaster movie, I can give you 10 that are better quality than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't understand at the time. I think this was just iconic enough that it kind of like gets some grace, whereas like the sequel won't, because it's like, hey, now in the 90s that movie made sense. It doesn't make sense to do that in the 2010s. You know, like it doesn't make sense to make that movie. Yeah. So I'm with you. Thanks for bringing me to the dark side.
The light side.
The light side. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. I always pictured you on the dark side.
See, the N and the Z are, I'm bringing you to my perspective.
The yin and the yang.
You're looking at a Z now.
There we go. The Z.
I'm looking at the time. We've talked about this movie for like 40 minutes. Yeah. I'm proud of us.
Hey, that sounds about right.
Maybe like even longer.
It deserves that amount of time. And maybe more, but I don't want to give you people the chance to actually see it and talk about it for 45 more minutes beyond this.
I don't think I could talk with anyone about this movie for like 45 minutes.
I guarantee no one's still listening at this point. But that's okay. We liked this movie. Fun. It was excellent. We're clearly biased, but we wanted to give you guys a fun movie that Yeah, it's just a classic.
Really is, in all senses of the word.
Yeah.
Words.
I think you can hate things about this movie, but I think ultimately it just kind of makes you want to just be like, dude,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
It's just a good,
It's
like,
dumb.
chill movie.
Yeah. It's a dumb movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a great movie.
Exactly. You won't feel like you wasted your time.
No.
At all.
Not at all.
Cool.
Man. What a movie.
What a movie.
What would you, do we want to rate it or just...
We can rate it.
It's hard to rate this movie, I feel, because, like, in my mind, I can't say it's a 10 out of 10, because it's not a 10 out of 10, but I watch it all the time. So I would say probably about, like, it's weird to rate this as much as Quiet Place 2, but a 7.
Yeah.
Even though Quiet Place 2 is a much better film, like, overall.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think I'm going to go with 7.5.
Dang.
Because
Is that what you rated a Quiet Place 2? Or no?
No.
Okay.
I think the first Quiet Place you said 8 and I said 8.5, but I was like, nah, 8's probably good. Yeah, 7.5. But I think that just tells you a little bit more about our personalities and why we like this movie.
Mm.
And you'll realize that our review numbers are helpful. They're not truth. And
Yeah.
so therefore,
There's going to be a lot of movies that are 7s that are like,
yep,
don't make a lot of sense, but
we can sit here and say Avengers Endgame is maybe the greatest movie, whatever, but
it's probably
somebody could pick apart that movie over and over again
Yeah.
because of our biased superhero love.
Yeah.
We'll say no, or the opposite. If
We'll be like,
somebody,
yeah, okay.
I can just completely crap on a Superman movie, but somebody loves Superman, so there you go.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but it's a movie that stood the test of time. There's a
think
reason
so,
why it's
yeah.
still like out and
Beloved.
about. So
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason they made a sequel.
it's
'Cause
true.
There's enough of a fan base.
And they tried to do it like even on like a 20-year anniversary. Like they tried to make it special.
Yeah.
But again, you're right. It didn't quite live up to the standards.
Not
So.
quite.
All right.
Dang.
But hey,
What a movie.
Independence Day. We'll not go quietly into the night.
Quietly into the night.
I didn't incorporate as many one-liners as I wanted to, but
I think doing the rundown was fun.
that was good.
Because it was just like, they're all in the movie.
That's awesome. All right, so now that we're done talking about Independence Day, let's just get caught up on what you've been up to this last week, what you've been watching, what you've been doing.
Nice. Want me first?
Yeah.
Nice.
What do you got?
So, I haven't been watching a lot of things.
Okay.
But I watched Independence Day. So, I did
Of course.
that.
Yeah. I mean,
As you know.
that was easy.
Yeah. Or we could talk about another 50 minutes of Independence Day if you
well,
want.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
okay.
So my favorite part was, but I finished a book.
Okay.
I finished Andy Weir, the author of the Martian book,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
which got turned into a movie with Matthew Damon.
What's this book called?
This new book is called Project Hail Mary.
Hail Mary. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
I've seen the cover. The cover
Nice.
looks pretty cool.
It's really good.
Yeah, is it? That's good.
Like, I love The Martian. You never read the book, right? You saw the movie.
Only the movie.
Okay.
Yes.
He wrote that book, and then he wrote a second book called Artemis, which I didn't really care for. It was fine.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, maybe it was like a one-hit wonder. This movie, or this
book.
book, thank
Yeah.
you,
You're welcome.
is maybe better than The Martian.
Really?
And I thought Martian was 5
And it's
out
not
of
like
5.
a sequel. It's just
No,
it's just same
completely-
author.
It's the same author,
different-
sci-fi. Like,
Okay.
this, it. I knew nothing about this book, so I really don't want to say anything about this book. But it's about it's just a sci-fi book,
Okay.
written in his comedic style, and like the universe makes sense. Like there's some weird things that happen, but like as the book progresses, like, oh, this makes sense in
Mhm.
this world because they explain why it works.
Okay.
It's honestly, it's weird to say after talking about a trash thing like Independence Day, but this book is phenomenal. Like,
Hey,
this is
very cool.
moved up to like one of my favorite books of all time. Like, I can't recommend it enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jot this down.
Yeah.
I'm a big audiobook guy, so I might see.
I
if there's an
also
audiobook.
I did listen to the audiobook.
Okay.
So I didn't
Good?
technically read it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's I can't remember who spoke it, but it's
Okay.
good.
Cool.
So highly recommend that. I really don't want to hype it up, but it just kind of took me out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, this is where we're going now. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that's Project Hail Mary by
Project
Andy Weir.
Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. Cool.
Yeah.
I've actually been reading a book as well.
Mm.
My My wife Kate and I decided to do kind of like a little book club thing this
Nice.
month where we both read a book. She can physically read a book faster than I can audiobook read a book.
Nice.
Like, it's nuts. She can
Dang.
read super fast. But I'm in the middle of a book called 8 Perfect Murders
8 Perfect Murders. Okay.
by Peter Swanson. And
he's pretty famous.
and
I think.
it's kind of cool. It's a mystery thriller about a murder that's done, but the killer is basing it off of old crime novels. So like the ABC murders and like
Nice.
random like
cool.
Agatha Christie stuff. And
Yeah.
so they're trying to figure out who could be doing this. And so they start talking to this bookstore owner who is like an expert of all these books
Nice.
and might have more to tell than
Books.
he can tell, kind of a stuff. So yeah,
dun dun dun.
it's pretty good. It's one of those where it starts off pretty straightforward, like, whoa, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, like a third of the way through, like a huge plot twist happens.
Nice.
And then you're just like, oh no, game stuff's going down.
And you
gets
finished
pretty
it, or
crazy.
you're still going?
I'm like
through it?
halfway through.
Nice.
So I'm working on it, but pretty good.
Right on.
So there you go.
That was
then I
8
still-
different murders.
8 perfect murders.
8 perfect
because
murders.
it's like it's a list that this bookstore owner blogged about, and he goes through all the books and says, here's the 8
Suspicious.
perfect ways to kill someone.
Mm.
Because like you could do so the ABC murders was this guy would kill somebody that has A initials,
Okay.
but deep down he really just wanted to kill the guy that had FF.
Oh,
But
so he's
he
getting to that
killed
point.
5 people
Oh wow. To get
to
that point.
hide that he was just trying to kill this one person,
Interesting.
hiding it under the alias
Pretense.
of ABC.
Mhm.
Like, I was just killing people because of their initials. He wasn't really.
Oh wow.
So it took away the motive
Mhm.
that he would be connected to that person because
Mhm.
it was some guy just killing somebody who.
Wow, what a jump to
Mhm.
make in your mind.
Yeah. And then the other one would be like message boards where, hey, I want this person dead. You kill them, and then I'll kill the person for you. And that way we're not linked to them. Like, we'll be out of town when these people die,
And so it's
so that we have an alibi.
Mhm.
The only thing that connects us to the murders is each other.
Mhm.
And so it's like that's a perfect way to get away with it because the actual person who killed the person is not connected to this person
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
just some random person.
And so it's just this list, and now people are starting to die according to the same list. It's like they're starting to do the same things that this list is doing. So
Got it. Interesting.
he's just digging in deeper into that. So it's a solid little. We just picked it because it was like a little. I don't want to say light because obviously it's
'Cause
like
it's
a
about
dark.
murder.
It's a dark like whatever, but we just picked it because it was like it's like an 8-hour audiobook.
Oh, it's
I'm just
it's
chipping
easy
away
read.
at it. Yeah, it's just like an easier read. So we're
Nice.
starting with that, and then we're gonna maybe work our way up. But
To Lord of the Rings.
I don't know if we're
To
gonna do Lord of the
Dune.
Rings. Yeah. We do eventually. Yeah, I do have to finish Dune at some point.
Have you
but
made any progress on that?
not since last week, but October as October approaches, I'll definitely make a little
You're like,
more. Yeah, I think like September, I'll probably just like go hard
Mhm.
and just so that way it's fresh in
Yeah.
my mind.
I've
So-
done my part.
Yes, by not doing nothing, or by
doing nothing.
by
Thank
not
you.
doing nothing.
Yes.
Yes, fair enough. Fair enough. But you said you haven't really been watching anything, just been
Oh
reading.
man, yeah, I haven't really been watching anything. I have been watching this reality TV show,
Okay.
but it's called Hell's Kitchen
Oh,
with Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay.
It came back like
like new seasons.
New seasons, yeah.
Okay.
There was a new season last year, and then they'll and kind of into this year, and then they started a new season like right after that one ended.
Cool.
And that's only like episode 3, but I love that show.
Classic.
Yeah,
I don't know if you call it a reality, but like, what do you call like a competition show?
that's
I mean,
reality TV.
It's reality. Okay.
I think so, but it's like a game show reality
Yeah.
TV, like Survivor.
It's
or
still
like,
real people doing real stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just not quite as like, let's just throw you into it. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess Hell's Kitchen is a competition show, so right? They compete.
Yeah, it's a
in that,
competition. Yeah, there's chefs, and they're like, hey, you get like out based off Gordon. He's like, hey, you're an idiot sandwich.
Yeah, except for many more F words.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, you bad chef.
You bad guy. That's amazing.
So I've been watching that.
Cool.
Yeah, I really haven't been watching that much.
That's okay. We had to watch Independence Day. That took up like half of your week.
Yeah.
So it's like 2.5 hours. Kate and I have gotten into. I've been very curious about getting my first tattoo, so we started watching
Yes.
Ink Masters.
My
We
guy.
got through the first 2 seasons of that. It's a little more dramatic than we would have liked. I kind of was hoping to get some like inspiration from watching it, and it's more just like
Drama.
yeah, they have 6 hours to do these tattoos, and they always bite off more than they can chew, and then they just get pissed off the whole time. So it's just like, of course I couldn't do a good tattoo because I only had 6 hours, and it's like it's always been 6 hours.
Wait,
This
so
is
what's
the
the
game.
premise of the show? It's a competition?
It's a tattoo competition show where you'll get put with, they call them your human canvases, which are people that have volunteered to get free tattoos,
That's
which
kinda
is
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
And they'll ask for a specific thing, and then the competitors have to kind of like either talk the customer out of like maybe getting that specific thing, or like if we're going to do it,
Changing
making
or-
it perfect, and then they get judged on how well their tattoo turned out.
Has anyone like gone in with like a basic tattoo? Like mine's pretty basic. It's like, hey, draw this symbol.
So far, they usually have like themes. So
Yeah.
it's like there's a Japanese week. So it's like a lot of like dragons and like koi fish and like those types of styles. Like it's a specific style of tattoo. And so they'll usually do weeks, and then they'll get people off the, I don't want to say like off the streets, but it's just like a volunteer
Signing people
person
up,
that's
yeah.
like, yeah, hey, just you want to do a free tattoo. So
So 2 questions.
yeah,
Would you sign up for that?
a free tattoo.
A free tattoo. Depends on the week, I guess, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm okay with spending money if it's something I want. I think maybe on my second one, like I feel like it's
Yeah.
one of those things, once I break and finally do one, then it's like, okay, now I just want a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that was kind of nice to like scratch that itch a little bit, where I'm just like, oh, now I know what I don't want.
Yeah.
You know, because I watched all of it. But
Right. So second question, have you like, it hasn't like seen anything that's like, oh, I want that, or like you're at least getting closer to narrowing it down?
yeah, I think I'm just wrapped up in the like needing it to be perfectly sentimental. And it's just hard to get so much meaning out of one tattoo.
Yeah.
So it might just need to be a little more simplistic and lower expectations.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of like, oh, like a lot of my little siblings like draw me stuff. So like there's that Groot with Stormbreaker up there.
Nice.
That's like my brother who drew that. And then there's this Avengers poster back here. But they're all adjectives that describe those characters.
Nice.
And I kind of want to get like a silhouette of that Avengers like cast.
Yeah.
It looked kind of cool, you know, hand-drawn stuff. But I also could just like try to do something that's like, you know, significant to me without it being like
The Not Us
full-on, like,
United
color.
logo.
Yeah, the Not Us, yeah. Just go ahead and get the camera and everything. Goodness gracious. 2 episodes in, tattoo on my body, please. But other than that, not been watching too much. Getting prepped for some future stuff that we're doing. Next week we're gonna do a review of In the Heights. And so I went ahead and started watching that.
Nice.
And then
I almost said Jason Momoa directed, but that's I don't know why that came to my mind.
Lin-Manuel Miranda
I'm just thinking
helped
of-
with it.
I'm
but
just thinking of him the entire time.
yeah. Jason Momoa is kind of close to that, but not quite the same. Kind of the Hamilton sequel to the theaters a little bit. Obviously different cast and direction and whatnot, but we'll be talking about that next week. And then but other than that, no, I haven't really been watching too much, but I'm excited because we've got a few fun projects coming up.
Yeah.
You and I decided, I mean, it wasn't like we twisted each other's arms, but we're definitely going to be reviewing Black Widow,
Yeah.
which will come out towards the beginning of July. But then one of our other projects that I'm really excited to check out is you and I decided once a month we're going to do a deep dive into just a year of movies. So like, for example, we're going to take the year of 2019. We're going to kind of forget 2020 happened. It's just easier for everyone. And we're going to start with 2019 and just kind of do a deep dive into the films that came out that year. Kind of do like what was happening during that year, what movies kind of grossed the most income, what was popular, what was maybe something that was missed, those types of things. And then in the midst of that, we're also going to be doing like a movie draft, kind of like forming teams of movies to compete against each other to see who could draft the better team of movies based off of genre, only based in that year.
Right.
And so I'm really excited to check that out because there's definitely some that get forgotten.
Right.
When only you can see like 6
Avengers
movies a year.
Endgame. Yeah.
Or Avengers Endgame. Like
I scrolled through the list of 2019. I'm like, there's some bangers on there.
Oh, 100%. And I'd be interested to know like the average person that like listens to this podcast. Like, what is the average amount of movies you see a year in theaters?
I'm gonna guess like 5.
Yeah, my safe bet would be once every 2 months.
Yeah.
So like 6 movies a year ish. And because of that, I mean, in 2019 alone, there's 20 some films I think that you and I would be like, yep, these are amazing. We need to talk about them.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how many movies are coming out now. And so it'll be cool to just dive deep into that and keep going further backwards into years before that and see what kind of maybe got snubbed. What are people like? What do you remember? And then kind of maybe picking like what was the quintessential film of that year.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, that's gonna be really cool. I think that's gonna be a fun idea, and it's gonna be. I think it'd be fun to start out with more recent movies, but then as we get deeper down to like a 1996, be like, oh yeah, Independence Day, or like all these movies that are like, like kind of start popping up, and maybe seeing some classics that we haven't seen ourselves.
For sure. No, I was even just taking a look at like 96, and like that was the year you mentioned Bill Paxton earlier in the podcast. That was the same year Twister came out.
Wow.
I mean, there's some like solid, just good action films that came out in just the year 1996. Now, obviously, it's going to take us a while to get down there, but I think people would be surprised when you find out, like, oh, that movie came out then, and it was competing against that. And it's like, yeah, and that's why you probably didn't hear about it until like a year later because it was going up against this, or whatever.
It's hard to remember, like, oh, these 2 movies were out in the same month, and so like this one got overshine.
Yep.
And then like it took like years later for it to actually develop into this movie that we like now know.
Especially the months from like January to like April.
Yeah.
Like nobody sees
the
movies
dead months,
there, and that's when the Oscars happen and talk about the previous year before, and no one wants to go in those dead months because then you kind of are forgotten about for that year's choice anyway and stuff, and you actually find a lot of like gold in those months. And so
that's when like usually like the Oscar bait movies come to the masses.
Yep. And so I'm excited to dig deep. 2019 is a solid year. We were looking at that and we're like, yikes, dude, like, good luck.
That's gonna be a really good one to start out with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have already seen most of those movies, or at least know of them, so it's like, hey,
it'll be easier to touch base with, I think, everybody, but as we work back, I think you'll be
a little harder
surprised at like, oh, I haven't even heard of that movie. And it's like, great. That would be our goal. Like, our goal is not to just talk about the most popular movies. Obviously, we talked about Independence Day and A Quiet Place 2 coming out because that was what was popular at the time. But we also have a love for like the movies that are maybe a little more forgotten, which I think is kind of even blends in with our love for Independence Day. Like I think some people do probably forget about this movie. Like the people who love it. Yeah. And then that's it. Like
that's it.
There isn't people that are like, oh yeah, that movie. It's just like you're either like a fan or you just like don't like it.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to talk about more movies like that where it's like this was like a staple during my childhood, and some people are like, I never even heard of that.
I don't
movie.
know what this movie is.
Like that's what I love about movies is you and I can talk about this, and you and I probably have a different top 10 list for our movies, like maybe completely unique from each other.
I don't think we would have. I don't know if we would have some of the same movies.
Yeah, it'd be interesting
do a top
to
10
see
at some point.
Yeah, for sure. It's so hard though, even just a top 10.
I know.
But then when I think about doing like a top 100, then it's like, do I want it to be 88 or 78 or like, and then it's just like it's chaos. But like top 10, dude, that's tough. So
that is tough.
But this will allow us to kind of easily digest through like all the movies that came out without having to pick like our favorites.
Yeah.
So it'll be
And it
good.
will allow us to tackle like multiple movies at once. Be
Mhm.
like, we're gonna talk about only this movie, and now it's like we're expanding out on a year. So yeah.
Yep.
That'll be good.
Yeah. So you can check back next week for In the Heights review, and then we'll kick off July with the
2019 year review.
2019 year in review. So
Nice.
cool.
All good stuff.
Any final closing thoughts?
I just feel cherished.
You feel cherished?
Um,
Okay, that's good. Excellent. In the words of my generation, up yours.
yeah, there you go.
And
There you go. I could have been at a barbecue. It's accepted this entire podcast.
right. Well, and I picked a bad day to stop drinking. But we will not go gentle into the night.
We're going to live on.
We're going to live on.
We're going to continue this podcast. Today is not us united. I don't know.
Today's our Independence Day. That's right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We know you could have listened to many podcasts about Independence Day, but you hadn't heard from us. Not us united. We'll catch you guys later.
You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.